Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's Homestuck. We're finishing the supports today. For sure. There's only 2 left. I kind of lost track, so I had to go back and check. We're only missing the 2 edges of the scale, so that's pretty funny considering I was using a random number generator. I guess odds were higher we'd hit something in the middle instead of either of the edges, but we didn't get 1 or 8. Wow, it's kind of lame. So today we'll be doing John, Dave, Carcat, and John, Jake, which, oh boy, sounds like a lot of fun. Anyway, if you're enjoying Homestuck, like, subscribe, and you can become a member to watch these episodes a week early. All right, let's start with the good one. Actually, I should say, no, let's start with the good one, because it's going to be back farthest in time. The main lads, the trifecta.
So, tell me about your ridiculous meteor journey. The Dave from the bad timeline told me some funny stories when we got together on the grassy hill planet. But we weren't actually hanging out for that long, so I didn't hear much. Also, I'm mostly sure Vriska wasn't alive during their trip.
Okay, well, let me tell you. Vriska was most certainly alive during this one. Like, almost extra alive, if that's possible.
I think I know what you mean. I just spent some time with her when she was a ghost and, let's just say whatever her mortality status is, she makes her presence hard to ignore.
Yes! Yes! I love this! Can we spend our whole reminiscence just destroying Vriska slightly above audible level?
Slightly? Carcat, you only have 1 volume setting.
Wow! Fuck you!
Okay, dude, maybe let's not spend our pal time trash-talking Circat. If only because there's no way you're not getting repeatedly trounced exactly just like that.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'll chill out. You're right, Dave, as usual.
Wow. Carcat, for a funny shouty guy, you backed down on that really fast. I'm almost, a bit disappointed. I was looking forward to more of your patented ravings.
Hey, John Fuckbert, I'll have you know that I'm a little more mature and reasonable than the last time you saw me. I'm a lot more than Mr. Hollersponge one note, and anyone who disputes this can cordially invite me to play their dirty seed flap like a discount harmonica.
Oh, well, I'm sold.
Seriously, though, it's pretty cool to finally meet you. I mean, under more civil, rational circumstances. Unlike whatever the fuck that brief encounter was 3 years ago where you KO'd Vriska, then poofed your flimsy ass into fuck-all continuums. I know I seemed really mad about that at the time, for whatever reason, but really, I've had so many boring hours on that meteor to spend barely reflecting on the roughly 10,000 ways I don't give the slightest fuck about whatever idiotic twist of fate transpired back there.
Okay.
I'm completely over it. I'm over a lot of things, actually.
You are?
Yeah, like remember back when I was yelling at you all the time from my computer? Back then I probably would have felt nervous or awkward about this encounter because of, well, you know.
No?
I was hitting on you briefly, and in a very confusing, non-chronological way, without even quite realizing how badly I was shoving my strut pod down my own statement tunnel.
Dude.
I mean, until you mercifully and with a fair amount of tact shut me down. Don't you remember?
Maybe?
How can you not remember that? I don't know, it was
That was wrong.
I don't know, it was a long time ago, and we had a lot of ridiculous conversations.
Okay, well maybe it was a bigger deal for me than it was for you. I mean, obviously it was. That's sort of the whole point. But the real point is, or that I was trying to make, is that it isn't a big deal anymore because I'm over it.
Carcat, what the fuck are you doing?
What? I'm talking, quite casually, about some shit that's not a big deal. And the point is that it's not a big deal anymore, so I'm just casually saying that. God.
Okay. It's not an unreasonable conversation to have, but we just started friend jamming about past anecdotes to get us all up to speed or whatever, and you're already trucking out these guns.
Guns? What guns?
Just saying. Doesn't sound that casual and no big a deal if you keep saying it's casual and no big deal. Oh, and also it's the first fucking thing out of your mouth to John in 3 years.
Sorry. I'm so truly fucking sorry. I forgot there was such an outstandingly smooth pile of shit in a cape within my judgment radius.
Oh, no, I mean, I think I remember. I think you were... my voice. Black flirting with me or something. But in backwards order and while constantly yelling. And then I didn't really even know what that was. And then I told you I wasn't a homosexual. So it was kind of a moot point, but also you didn't even know what that was either.
It's okay.
Yes, that's basically what happened. And that is exactly what I was trying to say was over. It wasn't a big deal anymore, but now that it is a big deal again, I guess. That's fucking great. Thanks, Dave.
Yo, I'm hardly one to talk here since I'm a goddamn geyser of hilariously self-pulverizing Freudian bloopers. At this point, I can't even pretend to keep a lid on any of the shit I got in me, because I know sooner or later during one of my rad soliloquies, I'll just pratfall butt backwards into an embarrassing admission that I just have to be like, yeah, okay, that's my shit, that's what I'm about, let's just get the fuck on with our lives. So when John's like, hey man, and you're all locked and loaded with some stuff about how you're over him, and go on and on about it like it's some way obvious protest too much shit, and everybody knows it, so I don't see how it salvages any of your dignity or whatever to pretend that it's not happening.
Oh my fucking god.
So what I'm saying is, if you're so eager to push this out there...
I am not pushing this out there.
If you're pushing this out there, which you are, then maybe we could rap about it. I mean, discuss it critically and earnestly, not drop ill rhymes or anything, though that could be sweet too. So are you sure you still don't have these unreconciled black rum feelings about John? I say we air this out before it ferments into some rank and hella unexamined feeling sauce.
Dave, I think you're making Carcat uncomfortable. Are you being a wise guy and trying to make us uncomfortable?
No, I don't do that to bros. That's huge uncool. That's a huge uncool. That sounds like something Dave would say. I don't see what has to be uncomfy about chatting out our true-ass thoughts and emotions. Dude, you clearly had a spades thing for John, but I don't recall you ever bringing it up. Is this something you've been thinking about all this time, or...
No, not really.
Yeah, we could have talked about this. I have all kinds of shit to say about John, seeing as he was my number one dude for approximately the majority of 13 years. The main dead end here, man, is like nothing personal at all. It's just, he's literally incapable of hating anyone.
I know that. That is the exact fucking thing I knew and understood, and why I felt so stupid about it in hindsight.
Well, I don't really want to egg on this train of thought, but I don't know if that's quite true.
It's not?
I can get really angry and hate stuff too, just like you, but I think only in extreme cases. The skull guy in suspenders I got really pissed off at, but I'm 100% sure that hate was platonic.
Getting pissed off at a suspender dude sounds like just the sort of yarn I want to be all ears for some time. But okay, that's something to work with. Hey, Carcat, maybe there's some hope yet, and it's not a total lost cause.
Urgh. Okay, Dave. It definitely sounds like you're trying to own us now.
Own? What? No way. I'm being real as a motherfucker.
Being able to hate things, I think, is the smaller part of that equation. What about the other part? Don't you think that's a little more significant?
What part?
About being homosexual.
John, dude, I gotta say, when you talk about being or not being a homosexual, you kind of sound like a corny old man.
What? Why? No, that's a normal way of putting it. I mean, it's a pretty normal thing to say, right? When that's how you are?
Somebody fucking kill me.
What does normal mean, though? Normal was some crap that ruled over dead civilization we left behind years ago. It's all a huge pile of shit that doesn't matter anymore.
Okay. So then you're saying... What are you saying?
I'm not sure, I guess. Okay, I guess what I'm saying is, I don't think it's all as simple as you think it is. Or maybe not like, actively think it is, but continue to assume it is on account of not thinking about it much. Due to a lot of junk about the subject that gets shoved into our brains from movies and stuff, or we're just dumb little kids. I'm just saying, it probably isn't as absolute or simplistic as the way you've been framing it. Or maybe it is for you personally, I don't know. I'm just guessing you haven't spent much time thinking about it. If only because all the stuff we read and watched suggested that, like, even examining your honest thoughts about it is a perilous road to go down. Because if you actually think too much about it without always having that undercut of, nope, then what happens? What if it turns out you're like, not exactly the way you thought you were, or maybe not so much that old presumptions about what you turn out to be are that relevant?
Why? Why are these words happening in our conversation?
I don't know, man. Not sure what you've been doing for the last 3 years, all riding on a large boat, then saving everyone from apocalyptic whatever. But I've had a fuck ton of time on my hands to think about stuff. And stuff I've said and done in the past, why I said and did them. A lot of the things I once would have insisted were like part of my brand and helped me come across cool and smart-assy. But now I'm not so sure. We used to rip on each other all the time for being gay, even though we knew we weren't, which of course is what made it funny, remember?
Yeah, I don't know, it was pretty funny sometimes. It was just a lot of joking around.
John, that was a long time ago. Yeah, I know. And it frankly is funny to say how gay something is sometimes. Let's face it, sometimes someone or something is just flat out really fucking gay. There's no two ways about it. It's more like that through the preponderance of all that jokey shit is an underlying implication that it's all lame stuff for pansies. But not like us, who are not lame, haha, that's the joke. Which thrives on this like double buried implication that the real cool shit is founded on this absurd wanky deal about masculinity, which if you think about it is 1, dumb as fuck, 2, the male adulation of masculinity to what extent, to be honest, is pretty fucking gay unto itself, and 3, was always some totally impossible shit for us to live up to anyway. I think all that's mixed up with the same phony ideals about heroism, like living up to the storybook idea of what a hero to me feels almost interchangeable with living up to society's snapshot of what a hard, manly dude should be. Stop pretending I could ever live up to either thing a while ago. Mainly have spent time looking back on the sheer magnitude of all my joking around. I used to lambaste fuckers left and right, grinding them into the pavement about how gay they probably were, and how much they were quite possibly jonesing to kiss some dudes or such. And I don't really feel bad about it in the sense that it was jerky or like insensitive necessarily, even though I guess it maybe was. More, I feel like it was probably transparent, like a massive front of outrageous snark to disguise a lot of insecurity, like a fucking cover-up. As long as I kept clowning hard about it and didn't actually have to think about it or face my actual beliefs.
Dave, all that's cool and all, and I think I mostly agree, but, how do I put this? Are you gay now?
What? No.
The words! Why won't the words stop? Dear God!
I don't know, it sounds to me like you're trying to tell me something here.
Man, no, look.
I mean, it's totally cool if you're gay now. It's totally cool if true.
I mix up those lines, whatever.
I just think you turning gay would be kind of a weird consequence of me changing the timeline around. Okay, not weird, just unexpected. I don't know what I did that would account for that. Maybe saving one of Terezi's plush toys did some goofy homosexual butterfly effect thing on you. Jeez, who knows?
Dude, you aren't listening. Although a gay butterfly effect is a pretty funny idea. Let's not dismiss that as a concept altogether. Anyway, maybe what I'm trying to say is sort of getting lost in the weeds here. The fact that you were wondering if I turned gay makes me think you're probably not still quite on the wavelength I'm trying to ramble onto here. Maybe we should wrestle this topic to the ground another time. There's a lot more I'd want to say about it, and it's probably not the venue. I mean, not literally wrestle to the ground, because that is maybe literally the gayest course of action we could possibly take, but you know what I mean.
Yes, later. Talk later, because then the words would stop. Oh, wouldn't that be lovely?
That's fine. We can talk about anything you want, anytime. I'm just confused about what you're trying to get at is all. Like, what's the bottom line here? Are you actually attracted to boys now? Did you, like, date any of them? But there weren't even that many boys on the Meteor. Well, there's the clown guy, but I don't really see you in him. So that only leaves, were you in Carcat? Are you in Carcat? Like,
Yeah. No, 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 no! I retreat to my safe place, and yet the words, the stupid fucking prattle jockeying like rowdy barn beasts up against the partitions of good fucking sense and the most basic of personal boundaries. The goddamn blither of tactless nincompoops. How it continues to haunt my wretched ears. The words spill over the side of this enchanted metal frog discus, like a babbling spring in a mythical forest governed by a guild of gossip-hungry lobotomy hobbits. This deluge of words leaked from the incontinent crevices of two brainless gushing yammer twats. It overfloweth. Oh, how it overfloweth, sogging my grey practical pair of pants, the leggings of a simple man, a humble man. It then continues its downward trickle, dousing my unremarkable shirt, the serviceable garment of your average Alternian Joe, chilling with frail torso beneath, a pathetic devil of meat racked with heavy sobs caused by words which continue to drip and sluice and spill, threatening to drown me, pledging to, promising, and yet I will not drown. Why won't I drown? Please let me drown, so the words will be no more.
Dave, I'm pretty sure we're making Carcat uncomfortable now.
I don't know, man. Yeah, maybe we should drop this.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever picked this up from him, but he's kind of a pretty sensitive guy.
What? No.
It's true. He's pretty much the easiest dude to rip on, and it makes for the irresistible target. But you also need to know where to draw the line. Really don't want to actually, upset him.
Yeah, me neither. What the fuck is he doing?
Man, I don't know. That's just his regular shit. Like an everyday occurrence, but with different bodily positions and geographic configurations.
I see.
Bro, will you get the fuck up here?
No.
Okay, suit yourself. Anyway, as you can see, I've been spending probably way too much time with trolls. It messes with you. Gets you thinking about stuff, you know?
I can imagine. I think life was a lot more boring on the ship, but we talked about you all a lot. We'd always wonder how you and Rose were managing to get along with all these crazy trolls. I think we mostly pictured a lot of arguments.
Well, that's not too far off.
I'm still getting used to having such insane, limitless powers that let me go anywhere I want. It's tempting to go to time periods like yours and find out what I missed, but I don't want to mess with too much anymore, since it seems like I got the timeline in a nice stable place as it is. So I guess I just have to do what any regular guy does, and imagine fondly what it would be like if I got to travel with you guys. I wonder if I would have gotten, absorbed in troll culture too, or the troll ways of thinking.
It's really inevitable. You pick up the lingo, they pick up yours. It's like a stupid cultural melange after a while that barely makes any sense from either frame of reference.
I wonder if I would have learned to understand black romance. It's such a goofy idea, but it seems pretty important to the trolls.
Yeah, they take all their quadrants pretty seriously, to be honest.
Yeah. Years ago when I first met the trolls, I remember being pretty fascinated by all our cultural differences. When Carcat and Frisco were telling me about them, I remember really sincerely trying to understand it all from their point of view. It's hard, though. I still think about the idea of black romance sometimes. I try to imagine how that really works or feels. I don't know. Do you understand it?
Yeah, but I spent enough time talking about it to where I think I get it, but I never had cause to have, or any real inclination to put it into practice or nothing.
Mainly the idea of hating somebody and translating that into attraction, or some kind of romancy feeling. It feels so alien to me. And you're right, I would have a really hard time even hating anyone in the first place.
Word.
I mean, I get annoyed by people, sure.
Like who, me?
No, not really. Well, sometimes, but not that much. I always tended to exaggerate my grievances with you for the sake of laughs. A better example is, more recently, when I was doing my retcon mission, I was getting really annoyed with Terezi and her mind games.
Yup, been there.
It definitely never crossed the line to hate, though, because we were working together to try to fix a dire situation. And even though she was weird and insane, she's obviously a pretty good friend, or otherwise is. But all her needling and japes at totally inappropriate times when there was so much on the line. It was so frustrating.
Egbert, I have news for you.
Whoa, he's back. All right side up and everything.
I heard you were talking about quadrants, so I decided to pause my tantrum.
He's coming back to his normal voice.
John, all you're doing here is describing the subtle feelings which plant the seed for having a colligonous crush on someone.
What?
You heard me. You were naively admitting to struggling with some black feelings for Terezi. So there you go. Question answered. Turns out you are perfectly capable of black romance.
No.
A fair rebuttal, however, consider this counterpoint. Yes!
But I don't hate her, and I'm sure I never will. I'm just saying I find her, like, somewhat annoying and really aggravating a lot of the time, but that's it.
That's exactly what the feeling is. It doesn't start out as full-blown antipathy. It rarely even reaches such an extreme level of hostility even over long-term black relationships. There are peaks to it, but otherwise a general ebb and flow to the dark feelings, just like with flushed relationships.
Okay, but I don't know if I'm expressing myself clearly. I felt aggravated by her a lot, but that doesn't fully describe... Like, there were those negative feelings, but also... But...
Yeah, that's it, right there. The but is always part of it. What you're trying to say is you had frustrated negative emotions toward her, but they don't comprehensively account for your attitude toward her. Meaning there are some things about her you actually like, but the negative feelings make it hard for you to put your finger on them, or even want to acknowledge them. That is absolutely standard. What good would it be having a kismesis who didn't possess qualities you actually admired on some level? That'd just be boring, and it wouldn't even work. There'd be no tension, no push and pull in the turbulent emotional landscape. The subtle positives add fuel to the negative feelings, often giving them a reason to exist at all. They inflame the aggravating factors, reminding you deep down how much you would like and admire this person if it wasn't for all their infuriating flaws, and the incredible sense of frustration that causes, along with the associated red-hot feelings, that's the essence of black romance. And the positive qualities you see deep down in a kismesis also serve as the basis for red feelings toward that person, assuming the relationship ever starts to vacillate. It's all pretty straightforward, really.
No. This is all messed up.
I don't know, John. It sounds pretty logical to me. Carcat knows his shit when it comes to quadrants.
It can't be true, though. It feels so fucked up. What if you're right, though? No.
That's part of it, too. The no is all part of the feeling. That's how it always goes. The sense of self-incrimination when it's dawning on you that you have these conflicting feelings towards someone who bugs you so much. Oh my god, this whole reaction is so fucking textbook. It's hilarious, really.
It's fucked up, though.
It's supposed to feel fucked up.
Oh, man. I just wanted to have a nice catch-up chat, not get so transparently owned in trollmances.
It happens to the best of us sooner or later, buddy. This crap is kind of old hat to me by now, but I get why you're kind of freckling at the implications here. What? Freckling? You have years of living with trolls to kind of normalize this stuff.
I don't think I want it to feel normalized, though. I'm not ready to, admit that. I have some sort of warped spade crush on her based on some feeling I don't understand that makes no sense to me. Oh god, what if it's true? I have to think as hard as I can to suppress this feeling and make sure I never think about it again.
Okay, sounds like kind of a weenie thing to do, but have fun with that.
Fuck. Yeah, probably. Just please don't tell her about any of this, okay, guys?
John, you don't have to remind us about one of the most fundamental statutes of the Bro Code, which is practically fucking scripture on my planet dating back hundreds of millennia. Dave and I fucking sleep and breathe the Bro Code and all of its clauses, no matter how fine the print. Feel free to come talk to us about this at any time. Your secrets will always be safe with us.
Dude, that sentiment is well and good, but when you're pledging a vow of secrecy, maybe you should try to keep it down a little.
Damn, yeah, sorry.
Wow, this is still going. This is going to be like the whole episode. It makes sense. They're the three main boys, but still.
It's all really confusing, though. Assuming you're right and I am busted on having those feelings, and I'm not even saying you aren't, but I thought humans weren't supposed to be able to feel stuff like that.
Like what exactly?
Like perceive and feel romantic stuff in the same way trolls do, because we're aliens to each other. Well, okay, humans can feel the gay stuff pretty often, I guess. I didn't think we could feel the space stuff, though. I don't know, I thought it was some screwy biological difference.
Nah, I disagree. Both humans and trolls are emotionally versatile sentient beings that can probably feel many hells of different things.
You're probably right. You know better than me, at least.
It's always a smart fallback position, by the way, especially on rap. I could school you on rap, too. Are you confused about rap?
No, Dave, I think I'm pretty squared away on rap. At least for now.
So, this has been a hell of a reminiscence so far.
Yeah.
Seriously, though, I wasn't actually intending to fork this, like, instantaneously in the direction of some, like, legitimately sincere dialogue on fucking sexuality and romance. I didn't plan on this, dude. You gotta believe me.
I believe you. It's been cool, though.
Yeah. Did we cover everything?
Probably not. Oh, right. You dated Jade for a while, so there's that.
Whoa, what?
I mean, Dave Sprite did.
Oh.
And, of course, I mean the one from my time, obviously not the one from this time, who died, I guess, before that happened.
Right.
Man, this still seems so sad. I guess even when you fix things, not everything can be perfect.
Yeah, so, how'd that go? Me and Jade, or, him and Jade?
Okay, I guess. My sense was it was kind of a dramatic thing overall. I'm not sure it was the best relationship, probably because of Dave Sprite's, unique issues. But there were a lot of fun memories. I'll tell you about them sometime, maybe when Jade's awake, because I'm sure she'd want to know too.
Yeah. Hey, that girl you came with, Rose's mom.
Roxy?
Yeah, what's she like?
She's nice, really nice. She's fun and easy to talk to. It almost feels like she's always been one of our friends, you know?
Yeah. How long have you and she actually been traveling together?
Not too long. We only met like a day ago, I mean, from my perspective.
Huh.
She's been through some really difficult stuff recently. Well, we both have, actually. But I feel like it was all a bit more personal for her. Being on her adventure, then suddenly losing all her friends and watching Rose die right there while she'd been kind of viewing Rose as a version of her mom. That was just some goofball drifting randomly here and there between realities, so I was mostly just confused by everything. But for her, I could tell it was all really devastating. I'm so happy she gets to be with Rose again! Not to mention all of her other friends. For some reason, I feel happier for her getting to reunite with them, the people she lost, than I do for myself.
Sounds like you like her.
I do!
No, I mean, like, actually like her.
Oh. I don't know, maybe.
Wow, dude, after one day, maybe you should slow your roll.
I didn't say I did, though.
I'm just joking, it's fine. Who cares?
No, okay.
She's my mom, isn't she?
Man, I'm not sure if we should keep thinking about all our relations that way.
Why?
It's kinda weird.
Is it? Do you feel weird about dating my mom? Is that it?
I'm not dating her, though.
But if you did, then you wouldn't want to think of her like this because of the familial weird times it invokes?
Jeez, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready for every single deep conversation we can squeeze into this wacky rapid-fire session of fun pal talk.
Okay, but I think I like thinking of her as my mom, even if it's a little weird.
You do? Why?
Not sure. Never even stopped and thought about it before. The idea of what it would be like to have a mom, instead of a hyper-aggressive lunatic of an adult male guardian. Never let myself give it a second of consideration, but now, seeing her actually here, even though she's just some teen girl I never met, I like the idea. It's nice.
Okay, that's actually kinda cute.
Yeah, I guess it kinda fucking is.
Alright, well, no matter what happens, it's okay with me if you want to think of her that way.
Sweet.
Okay. That might be a whole episode on its... It is a whole episode on its own. Well, is this one really short? Let me just see. How many boxes is there? There's only 2. Okay, I think I can handle that. They're not that long. Okay. I have to do Jake English's voice, though, so... Anyway.
Hey, Mr. Jake Harley, I presume. No, it's actually English. 'Twas my grandma's surname. Oh, my mistake. So then is it just a coincidence that she have the same name as an invincible supervillain? Are coincidences even real? I don't know. The history is a little murky to me. I heard she took the name from a nasty fellow in spite of a wicked baroness. Okay, good to know. It's been interesting to learn about how, even though we're all pretty similar, we all had a lot of really different life details. I guess so. Like, there were all these things I take for granted about Jade's childhood, which in theory is similar to yours, but not really. She had a super powerful dog you didn't have, and also a grandpa you couldn't have had because, that would be grown-up you. I'd be really curious to hear about all the differences in your life sometime, if you don't mind. Sure. Hell, I'd be really curious to hear about the differences in my alt life, so to speak. But Jane's still asleep. I'm guessing she grew up in a similar situation I did, but with a bunch of differences. Guess I'll just have to wait. Well, she was a good friend. I know lots of stuff about her life. What do you want to know? Oh, let's see. So I was her grandpa instead of being my nana. I'm not sure if that statement made sense, but you know what I mean. Yes, she had a pop-pop. He was a really funny and beloved old-time comedian, so I guess that was the guy you grew up to be. Cool. I never knew my nana growing up except as an urn of ashes above the fireplace. I only met her as a sprite. Was I dead, or was he? Or was he? I get it. Yep, but he wasn't ashes. They had a different way of preserving him, which I think was arguably more dignified. How? Have you ever seen Weekend at Bernie's? No, I have heard of it, though. Oh man, you have to see it. It's about a couple of knuckleheads who parade around with a funny corpse trying to pass him off as a living friend. A good time Charlie of this series of escapades. Sounds incredible. I still have it if you want to see it sometime. Definitely. So you like movies? Do I? I like movies too. There are a whole bunch I'd want to show you, assuming you haven't seen them all already. I love talking about them with people. I think my friends usually just humor me about the movies I liked, but I have a feeling you'd really dig them. Oh, I guarantee you I would, because I like every single film known to man. Awesome. Well, I can't wait to show you some. So, that means Jane had an old man corpse version of me around somewhere, like, in her house? Yes. Okay, that sounds pretty preposterous, honestly. But I guess she must have grown up thinking it was normal. Not really. She was always pretty put off by it, to be honest. Poor Jane. I'll have to apologize to her for freaking her out from beyond the grave. What was her life like otherwise? Pretty typical, I'd say. She characterized it as being boring. But I never agreed. Really, she got to live life on the mainland with access to all kinds of cool things I did not have. Plus, she lived with a cool and manly father who cared about her a lot and seemed like a stand-up gent. Oh, she lived with her dad, too. Do you know anything about him? Not much, other than what I just said and a few things she told me. I think he was a stern and fatherly one, all dressed well, if memory serves. He was a private detective at one point. A private detective? Wow. Sounds like he must have been a completely different kind of dad from the one I had. All these differences are so interesting. Some are subtle, but some are drastic, like this one apparently is. It'd be neat to meet him. I mean, not that it would be much of a substitute for getting to see my dad again, since they're totally different people, but you know what I mean. Do you know what happened to him? I'm not sure. I kind of lost track of him for a while. I think he might be in jail. Jail? Yes, on Durst. I think. I could be wrong, though. I'll make a mental note to check on him sometime soon. I bet Jane would want to, too, when she wakes up. I'll ask her about it. Good idea.
Okay, this isn't so bad.
You know, Jake, at first you seemed pretty shy, but you don't really seem that way at all now. You just strike me as a nice regular dude who likes movies and stuff. I'm glad we're getting a chance to talk. Yes, me too. I've been feeling way out of sorts since I got sprung from the big house and dragged along to this here frog stage to suddenly bump gums and way too many people. But you really are good company, John, and you know how to make a guy feel at ease. Yeah, it is a lot of people. I'm having trouble keeping track of everyone myself. They all seem like decent folk and all, but I guess everyone's catching me at a bad time. This wasn't how I pictured things going at all. How were you picturing it? Naively, I suppose. It's not that I was expecting differently of anyone else, more that I had spurious visions of my own conduct. Remember the letter I sent you? Yeah. All the excitement and swagger you heard from me in those words. That's the man I thought I'd be when you met me. A man of action and gumption. Hell, when I wrote that, I thought by now people would have seen me as some sort of leader. What a laugh. I turned out to be such a disappointment to myself and everyone else. The bravado in that letter was fake, I've realized lately. I've realized a lot of things, that I could never be a leader or a people person, or probably ever had a quality relationship with someone. So it's hard to get up a lot of moxie for a big moment like this, even though I'm as excited about it as everyone else. Tavra Sprite already tried cheering me up, and he's nice, but I don't think it worked. Like by saying maybe all the stuff isn't true, and maybe I'm actually really great in all the ways I just don't think I am. It's a nice thought, but also weirdly doesn't make me feel any better. John, you seem like the kind of guy who likes trying to cheer up a pal, so I guess just so you know, someone already tried telling me I was wrong, and it didn't work. I don't think you're wrong, though. Well, I don't know. We just met. What can I know about you other than what you've told me? I believe you about all that. Really, it just sounds to me like you're going through a lot of changes, and changes are good, especially if you understand that's what's happening to you. I think that's how we grow and stuff. So I think I've changed in a lot of ways. Some ways that weren't easy. Yeah? Sure. So you're realizing you like being by yourself, it sounds like. Big deal. I like being alone a lot of times too. It helps me think. If that's who you are, there's nothing wrong with that. Jade's grandpa liked being by himself too. So much so that he moved to an island as far away from civilization as possible. But he still did adventurous stuff and was super successful, and also raised a cool granddaughter, who was actually his daughter, but I guess is also yours. Oh, yes, I guess you're right. And if nothing else, at least you have a cool costume. You really like it? Hell yeah! Wow, thanks. Sometimes I worry I might look kind of silly. I feel kind of exposed, maybe. Like I'm on sexy display or such, and people don't see me as a person. I wouldn't worry about that. I love the God-tier pajamas, and yours are badass. You look like a superhero. Really? Yes, well, maybe a plucky sidekick at least. Sidekicks are usually underrated anyway. I think in some cases they might be the real stars. Like, Batman.
Like, no, it's not. It's like
Batman. Truth be told, I think he might just be some kind of gallivanting idiot. He's got all the money and the skills in the world, and what does he do? He buys a fancy car to drive around in, then jumps out and starts punching crooks with his bare hands. Then when he gets hornswoggled by a wily clown with no powers and a lot less money, who has to bail him out? His sidekick, of course. Yeah, you're right. What is Batman even trying to prove, being all serious and cool looking? His sidekick looks like he has a lot more fun and smacks of confidence and self-assurance, trotting around in his underpants. Batman probably doesn't even care that much about stopping crime. It's more about walloping thugs and getting to feel cool.
You can tell what era this was written in, of Batman, by the way.
If he really cared about stopping bad guys, he'd probably use his fancy money to buy guns, and at least show the criminals he's packing to make them scared, if not surrender outright. I bet his sidekick probably just has to wait for Batman to bungle things up with his stupid karate, and then he gets in the trouble, and the sidekick just guns down all the crooks from a safe distance like a sensible person.
John would love Red Hood.
Well, I do love guns. Also fisticuffs. See, there you go. You're better than Batman already.
Whisper, 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 whisper.
Hold on.
Shh, listen. Whisper, whisper, mayor. Whisper, whisper, downtown. Whisper, whisper, but where? Whisper, whisper, earth. Whisper, 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 to scale. I don't see how. Whisper, whisper, if you're really going to. Whisper, whisper, build. Whisper.
He's talking to the mayor again.
So it seems. That was the wrong voice.
So it seems. They really appear to have quite the rapport. I just like how he talks to the mayor. It's like he made up this whole language of, like, minimal talking and hand gestures. It's really cute.
Ahem! Egbert, what the fuck? Were you eavesdropping?
No.
This is fucking private conversation, dude. Stop being rude garbage.
I wasn't eavesdropping. You just happened to be, like, right there, and you're a really loud whisperer.
Oh, okay then. You're having excessively quiet. Shut the fuck up.
Sorry, go back to your cute mayor conference. We'll mind our own business.
Oh no, Tavros is allergic to cats. Oh boy.
Yeah, man, what's going on now? Meow.
Does Lucius need to be here? My allergies.
Jaspers? What are you... Wait a minute, Rose, is that you? Meow. Oh my god. I turn my back for 2 seconds and something stupid happens.
How is Tavros allergic to cats? They don't well, I guess some version of cats do exist on Alternia, so maybe that works. Actually, would it be even more sensible for him to be allergic to something that doesn't exist on Alternia? I don't know. That's not the question of the video, though. As expected, John, Jake, sure, it was fine. I do like that some of the shitty stuff that involved Jake can maybe get a different outcome in this world. I mean, I feel like most of it has already happened, but it happened a little differently because Roxy died, right? I don't know. That's just the way it feels to me. It feels like maybe Jake could actually go on a path to become something, which would be nice. But, you know, the main highlight was definitely the Dave, Carcat, John conversation. I think it's funny to lampshade the earlier chapters and being like,
yeah, I call people gay a lot as an insult. And you know what? That was fine in 2009, but my guy, it's the year of our Lord 2015. And also, like, enough people in the fandom liked me and Carcat together that, like, it's a thing now. So, pot calling the kettle black kind of situation. What am I supposed to do?
It makes enough sense for Dave to have that sort of a realization, I think. I like how that's the first thing he was thinking of, though, is like,
oh man, I bet you, because John used to engage me with all this stuff way back when, I bet you it's the same situation with him.
Like, that's such a Dave way to think of things, you know? He's always like, oh, I guess it's like a little bit, not egotistic, but that word still kind of works. Self-centered. Dave is still a little bit self-centered. He thinks about everything through his own perspective, right? Where, like, he's still, like, a nice guy. Like, he's way nicer than he was at the beginning anyway. Whereas he's at least expressing his feelings and being like,
I don't, like, actually hate you, okay? The whole cool guy thing, it stopped working for me.
Which is nice. But it's funny how he still views everything through his own lens. Like, he has to make it about him a little bit. And it's good, because it means that Dave hasn't completely become a different character. And I think it's probably the most charming part about him, is him having to wrestle with that aspect of himself sometimes. It's good. I mean, okay. If you know me from before Homestuck, when I was doing Danganronpa, and I mean, I guess I'll lump in Omori with that too. I talked a lot about character writing, right? And I feel like I haven't talked quite as much about it in Homestuck. It was a lot more about the plot and the pacing, just because that's the most obvious thing to talk about when it comes to Homestuck. But I do think Homestuck has some really strong character writing on a few specific characters. Like, there's some of them where it's like more wishy-washy, I feel like, which of course I've talked about at length when it comes to the Alpha Kids. But there are some, like, really strong, well-defined characters where I can point stuff out like that, and it's like, oh yeah, that was really well thought out when it comes to this character. I feel like Jean is basically like default protagonist, but with some more goofiness that I do appreciate. Like, he's one of my favorite characters in the whole thing. But as for, like, that really defined character archetype, I feel like John is way more malleable. That's kind of his character archetype anyway, is that he's able to adapt, whereas other people struggle with that more, obviously, as we've seen with the other three beta kids. I like Jade. I feel like Jade is one of the better written characters now, even though it took, like, a long time to get to her at the beginning, and she felt like a complete blank slate. Actually, I said after this I was going to do a tier list. Oh, but I don't have. It's like my computer would die. I'll do it at the start of the next episode. So we'll have that then, and maybe I'll talk about this more then. But I am happy that through these 8 free time events, essentially, we've got to showcase the strong aspects of these characters that I do like. I was skeptical, okay, on the Rose alcoholism journey. I feel like it's very well done for this part in the way that she relates to Roxy. I like that a lot. I'm glad that it's not the full-on debilitating thing for years like it is, and it feels like it like really I don't know how to exactly word this right now because it's again very hot in here and I'm dying, but specifically I feel like when the alcoholism thing went on for too long, it really undermined her relationship with Kanaya, and it made Kanaya feel more like a babysitter than a partner, which I wasn't a huge fan of. But obviously in this version of the timeline that's fixed a little bit, and it was sort of the same thing with the Terezi. I'm glad the whole Terezi thing is just out of this timeline, because I never liked that at all. And I know some people, because people in the comments were like, oh, but it is foreshadowed and all that. I know some people enjoy it, and I do think it's interesting now that I know it's not canon Terezi, you know what I mean? Like, that version of Terezi has a very cool resolution in sending John back in time rather. It's like a Days of Future Past thing. You get to see the alternate take on Forge. It is very Days of Future Pasty, honestly. But what I was gonna say is, I am glad that everybody feels like they're in character again, is basically what I'm getting at. Because I already lamented not liking Fish Vriska, who still exists in this timeline somehow, shouldn't, but does. I guess it's the timey-wimey, spacey bubble area. Because, I mean, if Doom Timeline people can show up there, then Doom Timeline Vriska should be able to show up in there. That actually does make sense. Never mind. What was I say? Oh, she's interesting, but I like that we've got a more, I feel like, in-character version of Vriska in the main cast now. I do remember people talking about, I think when we were talking about the retcon in that episode, the big thing that really hurts people's investment after it is that technically these are not the same characters we've been following the entire time, right? Like, this is like the game over thing we had in like Act 3, where Rose and Dave had to like go back in time and become Dave's sprite and Rose's memories, kind of. It's kind of like that all over again, but at the very end of the story. And if the changes were super drastic, I would probably hate it. Like, okay, here's the thing. Here's why I think it works, personally. If it was the opposite, and like things had continued from Act 5 and the characters had stayed very consistent with the way they were in that act forward to game over, and then we reset it and the retcon changed them fundamentally and they started acting like they did in the Doom timeline with Arania, like Terezi had the whole arc about gaining her eyesight back and the drugs and all of the Gamzee stuff and blah blah blah, I would be supremely unhappy. I would be like bitter, I would say, even. So I think it works because it's the other way around and is bringing us back to characters that feel more like the real versions of the characters than the technically more real versions we'd been following for longer. And yeah, that I wanted to say that last time, but I forgot. So I thought I'd say it here. I think my biggest takeaway from these is just that Homestuck has like half a cast of really well-written characters that I like. But again, I'll save it for the tier list. So, question of the day. I don't. okay, this is a goofy one, okay? And it's kind of completely unrelated to what just happened. If you could go back in time to the first Thanksgiving to get turkeys off the menu, if you could go back in time and make one change with no ripple effects to the present, other than that one thing you're changing, right? So, like, if you go back and decide to change it so that McDonald's never gets rid of the McRib, then the only change in the present will be that the McRib is a constant menu item at McDonald's. What change would you make? And you have to make a change, okay? You can't, do a cop-out and saying, oh, I wouldn't make one. I'd just save it. Like, say you have to make a change right now. What would be the one change you would make? And you don't have to get too serious with it, because there's obviously some crazy answers you could get to. It's time travel after all. But I think Homestuck does a pretty good job in justifying that sometimes, like, if you fundamentally change something, then you've kind of screwed over the whole world in a way. Like, yeah, if you go and change a very important historical event and the present no longer looks like the one you knew. Like, even if, like, with my rules set in place where you make one change and only that thing remains constant and there's no butterfly effects, if you change a major enough historical event, that will be a big enough change that the universe that we, like, the world that we know would be totally different anyway, even if it was just that one change. So, think carefully. As for me, what would be one change I would make? I think the easy one is to say, like, go back in time and tell your teenage self or even just younger self to stop being such an asshole about certain things. That's a pretty easy one to do. So I'll try to think of something a little bit more creative. You know what I do? Okay, this is what I do. This is very, very in keeping with all of this. I would go back in time to tell younger me about getting a computer earlier. Like a good computer. Because, oh my god, had that changed my life? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure I've told this story before, but I grew up in an area with really slow internet, and we always had really kind of shitty computers to kind of, like, we didn't need a good computer because we didn't have any internet, so all we were doing is playing, like, computer games on disc, with, like, an old ratty Dell PC that burst into flames, literally, at one point. So I think I would go back and tell myself to invest in a computer, because the reason I didn't for so long is I was like, well, it's going to get outdated and then I'd have to buy more parts for it and it's so expensive. But honestly, having a computer is what has not only allowed me to do this whole YouTube thing, but just play a lot of stuff and just engage with a lot of stuff that I never would have been able to otherwise. Even with a bad internet connection, you download like one game and that will last for like a while. Like, I didn't have I think I was talking about this on the Minecraft stream, but I've been really enjoying Minecraft recently again. And the first time I played Minecraft, like the first time I bought Minecraft officially, I bought it for the Xbox 360 because I didn't have a computer that could run regular Minecraft. And my god, the difference is insane in terms of what you can do. I remember being so frustrated by Xbox Minecraft and how limited it was. And like, yeah. So that's my anecdote. Something like that is all I'm asking. All right, thanks for watching. I will catch you guys next time. It is too hot in this hot-ass room I am in. Goodbye.